All right, Josh. So you're back from vacation, and I think it's time to hit up the Bengals Twitterverse and see what's going on. Obviously, a little bit of Joe Burrow news, a little mini camp action going on. So we have queued up for me.
Yeah, so I did a quick search and I saw this post. I thought this was pretty interesting, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it up and we'll watch it, and then I guess we'll just kind of have a reaction to it. But it's just basically Joe Burrow throwing on the run. So let's see how this looks.
Okay. I mean, it's good that he's moving. It doesn't look like he's moving great, you know? I mean, you can see that the knee's still bothering him a little bit, but I mean,
You think so? So when I look at it,
yeah,
I
it
think
looks
it
like
looks pretty good actually.
looks like his like when he steps that first step with that left leg is really kind of, yeah, see, a little slower.
Now I will say this. This is probably not the best comparison, but I do remember Tom Brady having like a knee injury and his recovery. He was very timid, and I remember like seeing certain NFL videos where like Belichick is yelling at Brady, basically just like step in your throw, and like there's like a mental aspect of it. And I want to say like where Burrow is, I feel like he's ahead of that. Like I can see what you're saying. Maybe there's like a little bit of rust, but I feel like where I thought he would be a lot further back than what I see. So to me, this is pretty encouraging because
it's definitely encouraging, like where compared to where you think he might have been, but you know, you can see. I mean, he says 85%. You can see what he means.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an aside. Can you pause this? Just an aside question. What's the point of a practice field? Like, here it looks like they're practicing in the stadium. Like, why wouldn't you practice in the stadium all the time?
It just depends. So the Bengals are probably unique because they have a very cheap way of going about their practice facilities. Basically, we're very kind of limited. A lot of teams more in the north, they have multiple practice facilities. But what I'm getting at is depending on like the team that you're playing and what type of surface that you're going to be playing on, typically in a normal game situation, you're going to try to practice on the field that's very similar that you're going to practice on Sunday. So potentially you could be practicing on like the Bengals field inside the stadium, because if that Sunday you're going to be playing another team with a very similar field, you would want to practice on that surface that's going to be more similar to what you're going to be playing in. So I practice on the Bengals practice facility very like when I played in high school on our state route. We actually got to practice at their facility, and on their fields they had like 3 different surfaces. I'm sure that they've switched it up a little bit because at that time that's when like AstroTurf was still a thing, and they had like 3 different field types. So there could be many different reasons why they could be practicing at a particular field. It could be game situational. It could be personnel. They could just be practicing with the QBs. They could potentially be practicing with the receivers. But this just looks like an individual drill. They're probably just doing QB drills because it looks like the linemen are in the background doing their own thing. But I would
got Riley Reef, who's 79.
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't even studied
Riley
the numbers
Reef is
yet.
71. So he's looking big. He looks wide, which is good, right, for an offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, I think we have some pretty stout linemen now. I think one of the things that kind of got overlooked in the offseason.
79's Jackson Carman.
That is Jackson Carman. Wow, he is.
He's a big dude.
He's
too.
a big dude because he makes 69.
Definitely wide. Yeah, 69.
Even 71. I think isn't that Reef right there?
Yeah, 71's Riley Reef.
But yeah, no, our depth is so much better.
Oh, that's Khalil McKenzie, a defensive tackle.
Okay, so yeah, to me it just looks like he's kind of segregated, just doing his own thing.
Yeah, is he lined up at left tackle, Riley Reef there?
Oh, right here.
Yeah, or is
I can't tell. It just looks like they're doing.
It looks like they're doing standing. Oh no, he's getting down.
It's hard to say.
One-on-one
it's
stuff.
really hard to say. It could just be they're trying to learn their assignments. I don't know. It's like, but yeah, no, I think this is very encouraging. So.
Yeah. All right. We'll color ourselves encouraged.
All right.
Which is a good place to be in June. All right. So what else is happening in the Twitterverse here?
Okay. This is actually from the Bengals Twitter, and it looks like there was an interview with Tee Higgins. So let's just see what's going on here.
Are we overlooking the Bengals already in 2021 before we even get to training?
Why is he wearing a Royals jersey?
That's weird. Some people are, some people not. But we just look at it as like, man, we got something to prove. We just keep that chip on our shoulder, and hopefully people start saying our name, putting our name with those other guys. So we're gonna change it around for sure. No problem.
We hope so, man.
How long do you think it's been since Tee Higgins has been how long do you think it's been since Tee Higgins has been like an underdog? I mean,
forever. I don't know.
It's like
I think for
maybe,
him,
definitely not in high school, right? Because he went to Clemson, so he was probably just crushing it in high school.
Yeah, from what I understand, he played basketball and football in high school, and he seemed like he was pretty good at basketball. So I think he had kind of like a decision, either like focus on basketball or football. But I think obviously he made the right choice, because it makes so much sense too. Because like I just remember some of the highlights that he had, and those one-on-one opportunities. It really wasn't one-on-one because he made it look so easy, and I didn't realize it. There's like a highlight of him like dunking the ball from like it was almost the foul line. Like it was, he's not one that gets like a lot of height necessarily, but he's got like tremendous hang time and length basically. But yeah, he just makes it look easy. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny. And I've heard several people actually pumping up the Bengals and actually saying that we possibly have a shot if Joe Burrow is actually healthy or can stay healthy. But I do think we are being overlooked a little bit, and I prefer to be overlooked because that tends to be when we play the best. Because I always feel when we do play well, we always play down to our competition. That's usually our problem. Like we always play down to our competition, and we can never get over the hump within our own division, like in terms of beating the Steelers or possibly the Ravens when it matters the most, But I think those are like the two things that we kind of have to overcome. But I definitely think we're being overlooked. Like I look at a roster, and I get it because the Steelers have a long tradition of being really successful. But like I just don't see how people look at their offensive line and think that they've gotten better, or how they can think Big Ben can turn it around and be like something like Brady. I mean and Brady's not throwing up like monster numbers, but he's super
all he
efficient.
did was win the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, but he
sucks.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, it's like I don't see where they have this like faith. I just don't see where they got better. I actually see where they got worse. I mean, I'm not worried about their defense, but their offense.
A lot of people that write these things and talk about these things don't watch the games, don't know who the players are.
Ravens, I feel like they're going to be tough.
Ravens
always
are gonna
tough,
be good.
Especially if they have Lamar Jackson. I was so worried.
But like the whole narrative about like the Bengals offensive line not being fixed, but like completely ignoring like what's going on with the Steelers offensive line is a little bit misguided, a little unfair. But I don't know. Can we make it a rule going forward that like we can't wear like baseball jerseys when we're talking about football? It's just weird. Why is the guy on NFL Network on a show about football wearing a Royals jersey?
I mean, we could make that rule, but I don't think they're going to follow it.
Rule? What? You're not going to follow it?
I mean, I wear a baseball cap every now and then. It's just sports, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to admit that bothers me a little bit.
But it doesn't bother you that you wear a baseball cap with a football logo?
No.
Isn't that like kind of like the same thing? Because when would you ever wear a football cap playing football? How does that even make sense?
Football cap? Like one of those like stockings?
No. I'm saying, why would you ever wear like a baseball hat, like what you're wearing right now with a football logo, playing football?
Because I just got drafted.
It's kind of like
I'm about to hug the Ginger Hammer, man. I got my baseball hat on.
It's kind of like
I'm on stage.
It's kind of like the manager of baseballs when they wear the uniforms. but they
It's
don't
not as
play.
bad as wearing a uniform.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but there's no point of having a baseball cap with football stuff on it because you just never wear a baseball cap in football.
Not when you're playing, but when you're on the sideline, you do. Keep the sun out of your eyes.
No.
What, you don't think people wear baseball hats just in everyday life? Like a baseball jersey is not like a general, like, oh, I'm just going to go to the grocery store. Let me put on my Bo Jackson jersey.
Yeah, I guess it really just doesn't bother me that much. But
Okay.
also, I was about to say, I was so worried that the Ravens were actually going to get Julio Jones. I thought that was going to happen. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like that was a pretty big possibility.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Julio Jones cost a second-round pick.
But yeah, so
crazy.
Ravens, to me, are always going to be really competitive. I mean, I feel like the Steelers will be competitive, but I don't see what they did in the offseason. I think they're just low-key trying to kind of tank a little bit. That way they'll be in the next really good position next year.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I mean, it doesn't hurt them either way. But and then the Browns are the Browns, kind of like the Bengals are the Bengals. They have like the same problem that we do, like where we just haven't shown that we can win the big game or actually do well when you're expected to do well. Like it just seems like the Bengals are and the Browns are very similar to that. So I do feel like we're being overlooked. I think some of the other teams under division earned, I guess, a right to, have that. I don't want to say crown, but I guess that thought that they're going to be the ones that take it. Because I think the consensus is between Browns and Ravens, and then I guess the Steelers are going to be in
they're
there.
the two best teams.
But I think the way it looks for us, I mean, we have a pretty good start schedule-wise, so we could definitely start off hot, and that would put a lot of pressure. If we start 3-0, that would mean we beat the Steelers. So we'd be 1-0 in the division, typically 3-0. And actually, I don't know the statistics now because we have the extra game and there's one more additional team that goes into the playoffs.
Nobody knows the statistics.
I guess yeah.
Trying to consider for a 17-game season.
Well, I mean, couldn't they create new probabilities? I don't know. I guess I'm not sure if anyone looked into that, but I would imagine still starting off 3-0 is still pretty good. You can estimate
it, but
yeah,
I mean the statistics are just based on previous years. But yeah, I mean 3-0 start is probably a good start. But I don't think you get to for sure making the playoffs till you get to 5 or 6 wins under the 16-game schedule.
Yeah.
When you start off 5-0, 6-0, then it's you're almost guaranteed to be in the playoffs. But
right. 17-0 is gonna be a little bit. Probably going to take a couple more games, right?
Probably take at least one more, I would think. So yeah, you probably have to start 7-0 to feel like you're for sure going to make playoffs. 17-game season is going to be interesting to see if how that all plays out.
I think they'll switch it up one way or another because it's going to get to the point where if certain teams do really well, then the last couple of games of the season are going to be kind of boring. Because if it gets to the point where you have the opportunity to sit people out for a week or two, then
you think it'll get to the point where people are sitting out 2 weeks?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. I haven't put a lot of thought into.
What they should do is just start the playoffs sooner and actually add more teams. That would make a little bit more sense.
Well, I mean, we'll have to do. Well, I guess it's too late, but I have my own plan for how to make the season longer.
What's that?
My plan was eliminate the 4th preseason game and add a bye. So every team gets 2 byes. So then the TV channels still get 17 weeks or 18 weeks of games, right? But then your home team just wouldn't be playing one more week. So you would have the week that the Bengals have a bye, we don't just sit around and do yard work, right? You still watch football, you just watch the other games, right?
Yeah, but
for the network,
don't they still want the extra game just for the revenue? Because that would be essentially more opportunity to run ads.
Right, but that's the same thing. That's what I'm talking about. You would have that extra week because you'd have the 18th week because you added the bye.
Yeah, but if you're only playing 16 games and you don't have that one extra game of running ads.
Well, you would run the ads from the other games.
Just make them longer or more expensive?
No. You would have other games on that week. You'd have one more week's worth of games.
I
So
guess,
you'd
but
still have. You would just have more national games. So like your national game would just be in more markets every week. So I think you would definitely generate more revenue. It's not as much revenue as you get from a 17-week season, but I don't think any of the players would complain about getting 2 weeks off.
I think you're right, because it would all kind of work out, because with what you're saying, you could still have that additional primetime game, so like that would be the difference maker. Or
yeah, and that's the second part of my plan, would be that if you play on Thursday night, then you must have like a bye week before it, right? And if you have 2 bye weeks, then it gives you the scheduling flexibility that you could do that, right? And it would pretty much mean that like every team could play like at max of 2 Thursday night games a season. I think it would have worked. I mean, they went with 17 games, which, you know, I mean, you assume that injuries are just like a random thing. So if you have more chances at something random happening, just more injuries are going to happen because you're playing more games for sure, right? So this would have been kind of like the in between where you play. Um, each player doesn't play more games, but the NBC or CBS gets one more week's worth of games. So in the Cincinnati market, for instance, you would just have one extra week where you don't watch the Bengals. You'd probably be watching like the Pittsburgh game or the Cleveland game instead. And I mean, I think that um, you would still generate revenue. Not the same as if you had the full extra game, but you don't have the additional risk of the extra game. And you would almost think with an extra bye week that with that extra rest and recovery, maybe you would reduce injuries, but too late for that. So maybe if they go to 18 weeks, or what is it? They're at 18 weeks. Maybe they go to 19 weeks with 17 games and add 2 buys. You could do what I'm talking about.
I'm sure it'll eventually come to that. Like, I don't see them taking away games. They can only add them at this point.
Yeah,